Welcome to episode 25 of the Tuesday Talk IU Athletics podcast, joined by Director of Athletic Communications Larry Dealman and Student Assistant Connor Kikowski. This is Sports Information Director Andy Alvarez, bringing you results and news in this past week's action and previewing a week ahead upcoming in Immaculata Athletics. Hard to believe we've reached episode 25, guys. Another milestone for the show. Glad to be here. Baseball and softball and tennis wrapped up their South Carolina spring break trips. Men's volleyball is undefeated so far in United East Conference play. Men's lacrosse had a solid comeback win over Aurora, while women's lacrosse faced some tough competition, and flag football got a win over St. Joseph's in a non-conference matchup. So let's get started looking back with the results from this past week.
Let's kick things off with men's volleyball. Men's volleyball won two conference matches this week to stay perfect in United East Conference play, so they are up to 3-0 in their brand new conference. They, on Monday, played St. Elizabeth here at Alumni Hall, and then on Saturday, they took a trip to Brooklyn to face Pratt. Against St. Elizabeth, it was a sweep for the Mighty Macs, scores of 25-23, 25-18, and 25-8. Noah Zunski had 8 kills. Luke Dortenzo added 28 assists and 2 aces. Nate Bailey had 3 blocks. And the deciding factor in that game was the 13-1 start in the third set really put the match away against the Eagles. Against Pratt, it was a 3-1 final for the Mighty Macs, obviously taking 3 sets. The third set went the Cannoneers' way, but the Mighty Macs ended with a 25-19 win in the fourth set. Josh McGurl and Noah Zunski had double-doubles, 18 kills and 10 digs for McGurl, and Zunski 11 kills and 11 digs. Luke Dortenzo went nuclear against Pratt, nearly setting program records with 45 assists and 5 aces. He was a couple assists short for the most assists in men's volleyball program history for a single match, but he set the record for most in 4 sets. And he also had 5 aces. I believe he was 1 off from tying the program record. Luke Dortenzo is also named the United East Conference Player of the Week for his actions. And with this 3-0 start, up next they face Newman tomorrow, March 17th at 7 o'clock. That is here at Alumni Hall. And the Mighty Macs still tied with Lancaster Bible for that undefeated start, who they ironically play later this week at Lancaster Bible. So somebody's undefeated streak, depending on results, could be tested later this week. Guys, some good results from men's volleyball. Great to see them competing strong in a new conference. And the Pratt game, everybody was putting up numbers in that one.
It's been a good start for them since they started conference play, and I think you're seeing the team starting to, adjust to things, getting more familiar with each other on the floor. You get some big performances out of some players. Luke Dortenzo, as their setter, has really established himself in there now, and breaking the 4-set match record for assists that was held by Joe Martell. It's good to see Luke stepping up into that role and having a real solid match in conference play.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a big win over at Pratt this weekend. Like you said, everyone was contributing, which is good, especially in the new conference. We're able to work together and they're finding ways to win, especially when you lose that set when you're trying to close out, but you come back in the fourth to try and win. It's huge, and it's going to help them as they get further down the road here.
Moving along into men's lacrosse. Men's lacrosse went 1-1 this past week with playing Aurora University from Chicago area and Lebanon Valley College, a strong MAC team. Versus Aurora, Immaculata won 13-10. Ryan Gorman and Nick Senator each had 4 goals. Senator also added 4 assists. Colton Rhodes had 8 ground balls and 4 caused turnovers. Matthew Ludlow made 14 saves. And Aurora led 9-7 after 3 quarters. Senator scored late in the dying seconds of the third quarter to cut the lead to 2. Then Immaculata, kind of stormed out of the 6-1 in the fourth quarter to take that game. And I know I was talking with Coach Kent Stani, and he told the team in that huddle at the end of the quarter that these first 3 goals are going to decide this game, and that's exactly what they did. Those first 3 goals gave Immaculata the lead, and they really didn't look back after that point. On Saturday, they faced a very strong, solid Lebanon Valley squad, and ended up falling 9-8. It was a good game for Immaculata. Fortunately, they were unable to hold the lead at the end, but 2 goals from Jason Smarin and Headley and John Stellacio. Smarin added 2 assists, scooped up 5 ground balls. Colin Wolk had 2 caused turnovers, and Cornell Lofton was 6 for 10 on faceoffs. Ludlow logged 20 saves in 60 minutes. They'll have a couple games this week. They'll be up at Manhattanville on Wednesday at 7 p.m. before returning home on Saturday. They'll face King's College at Draper Wall Stadium with now a 4 o'clock game on Saturday. And Matthew Ludlow was named the Atlantic East Conference Defensive Player of the Week for the second time this season, and Jason Smarin was on named to the weekly honor roll for a third time this season. Some good results and some good things for the men's lacrosse team. What's your guys' thoughts on that?
Aurora game was awesome to do. That was one of the best lacrosse games we've seen in a while here. Nick Senator and I think Ryan Gorman kept going back and forth. It was either Senator scored and Gorman had the assist, or Gorman scored and Senator had the assist. So it's good to see younger players working in with the older players, and a lot of guys that have a lot of experience here, especially when they're dealing with some injuries too right now. But yeah, Matt Ludlow was another wall and goal for the Mighty Macs in that Aurora game.
Yeah, it was an awesome game to be a part of. And considering that we have never seen this school and probably won't for a while at the very least, it's good to beat that caliber of an opponent. And, they probably face some tough competition out west. It was good to see them get that comeback because you're not always going to be dominating teams. You're not always going to get, the first punch, and it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And they finished off very strong. They shut down Aurora in that fourth quarter. So it was great to see all around. Tough one against Lebanon Valley, but, they had the lead for a while, so it shows they can compete with these MAC teams.
We are going to switch gears now and talk about baseball, who is back from their Myrtle Beach spring break trip. They played a lot of games down there this week where they went 2-6. They played a lot of tough teams. Fell to Wittenberg 5-1, Penn College 10-2, Bridgewater State, that was they lost 8-7 on a walk-off home run. Fell to WPI 11-1, 7 innings, Nichols 17-6, and Hobart 5-0. And games they won where they won Westminster 8-6 and Otterbein 12-2 in 7 innings. Looking at the Westminster game, they scored all 8 runs in the sixth inning. Each run was scored by a different player, and 5 players each had 2 hits. Josh Goldburn and Luke Hardnock each logged 2 RBIs. Steven Devani got the win on the mound in 1 inning of relief. Versus Otterbein, Matt Passerini led with 3 runs. Passerini, Danny Nachito, and JT Leifer each had 2 hits. And Nachado had a grand slam in the fourth inning to basically put it away for the Max. Thomas Asarno played 6 innings on the mound, struck out 3 batters, and earned the win. They were supposed to play at Keene on Tuesday, but that due to the weather, that is not happening anymore. So their home opener and conference opener is going to be against Marymount on Friday at 3 p.m. at the baseball stadium. Obviously, Marymount's the defending champs this year after we won it 3 years in a row. So they're going to be looking to get on them early and set the tone early in this conference.
Yeah, some good results from baseball. And when you have a lot of these tough teams that you never really see, I guess it could sometimes be hard to gauge. Like this isn't like Marymount or anything where despite them being a tough team, you see them all the time. These are teams that you never really see. So, I mean, we got some good results. Getting that win over Otterbein in 7 innings, definitely a strong one. And maybe one of these days we'll have a home opener. This weather can maybe not get in the way so much with the snow and the rain and, whatever else. So hopefully we get that Marymount game in. Then they'll go to Marymount on Saturday for the doubleheader. And also for baseball, Danny Nacito got weekly honor roll for the conference because of his play this week and getting that grand slam against Otterbein. That's a good way to get one down in Myrtle Beach and to put that one away. So we'll see if baseball can get back on the diamond here this week, depending on the weather.
Not a bad start. I mean, you play a lot of teams and you're playing some good teams and you're playing in a real short time period too. A lot of games. Your pitching runs a little thin when you're on those weeks like that where you have that many games in a short period. It's good to see them finish strong with a win on Saturday against Otterbein, and then they got back obviously over the weekend. Hopefully, the weather will start to cooperate with us so our spring sports could start getting more time on the field to get a chance to play a home game. Looking forward to getting out there to the baseball stadium and working a home game soon. Hopefully that's something that maybe Friday we could finally get to. Moving on to women's lacrosse. Women's lacrosse team, they did go 0-3 this week. They played a closer game on Saturday. The first game of the week, they played up at the Sales on Tuesday. They did fall 22-5. Elizabeth Mahmood scored 4 goals, had 4 ground balls, 2 caused turnovers, and 3 draw controls. Samari Rodriguez netted her first career goal on a free possession. Abigail Garnieri made 6 saves in 45 minutes in net. On Wednesday, they hosted a very tough Elizabethtown team here. Did fall 15-2. Elizabeth Mahmood scored both goals. She grabbed 3 caused turnovers and 2 draw controls. Abigail Garnieri made 20 saves and scooped up 6 ground balls. The game ended up being called before 13 remaining in the fourth quarter due to lightning in the region, and then the lightning just wouldn't clear to allow the game to be restarted, so it was ended at that point. It was an official game. Then on Saturday, the women's lacrosse team did host Goucher. They ended up falling 16-9. Elizabeth Mahmood and Alexa Marzak each scored 4 goals, while Mahmood, added 3 dimes. A much more improved effort from the team in general. Abigail Garnier made 7 saves and had 6 ground balls. Mahmood had 4 caused turnovers and 7 draw controls. Second quarter was kind of an offensive battle, but Goucher was able to kind of pull away. Kind of the unfortunate nature when you have a smaller roster like that, you kind of tend to get tired and it's harder to keep up at times. But Abigail Garnieri is tied for third for most saves across all of Division 3. They'll be up against Swarthmore on Wednesday at 7 p.m. down there at Swarthmore. And they will also be back home on Saturday to play Bryn Mawr, which will be senior day, where they'll be honoring Carly Oberg, Riley Mullen, and Abigail Garnieri as their seniors this year. Will be honored on that day. And Elizabeth Mahmood was named to the Atlantic East Conference weekly honor roll. Congratulations to Elizabeth. The games have been tough. It's been fun watching some of the things Elizabeth's been able to do, and they will get a little additional support this week as they'll have a couple of players joining them from the women's basketball team. Kira Benoit and Julia Pohl will be joining the lacrosse team, so it gives them some more depth. And Kira Benoit was a really good player at Delaware Military Academy in high school, so that should definitely help them with some additional players.
Yeah, again, Kira Benwell and Julia Pohl from basketball, I think is going to be huge from this team and really help make a difference, especially in that front line where you're dealing with a small team right now. A lot of them haven't played in a long time. My sister is one of them who hasn't played since she was 9 years old, but she's here because she wants something to do in the spring. I told her, go do lacrosse. They'd love to have you. So she's doing it. She's having fun. But yeah, they're versing some tough teams. I mean, DeSales and Elizabethtown, we always know they're tough in any sport. They come from the Landmark and MAC conferences, so they're tough teams. But hopefully this week, another tough task on Wednesday against Swarthmore. Hopefully they can get a good game on Saturday for senior day against Bryn Mawr.
Tough one for women's lax this week, but as you guys said, Kira Benoit and Julia Pohl, I think, are some great reinforcements from the basketball team, and Kira playing at Delaware Military Academy, I think is going to serve them well. And, it's kind of hard to believe we're already at senior day. I feel like we kind of just started, and here we are. So great results. That the Goucher game was close for a while, but then the Gophers started to pull away in the second half. And for Abby Gorneri to be tied for third in D3 for saves is really impressive. Just shows how great she is in goal, and we'll see we'll see how they can do in the coming weeks. Let's go over to softball. Softball finished 4-4 in the Fast Pitch Dreams Spring Classic in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. They got the split. So the games that they lost in, there was Keystone 10-1 in 5 innings, Penn State Mont Alto 6-5, Albion 10-3, and Vermont State Castleton 5-3. But they did win 4 games as well. NJCU 2-1, Bridgewater State 3-2 in 8 innings, Lycoming 5-2, and it was a 5 inning game against Thiel 11-3. Against Lycoming, 5 players each scored a run. Alexis Andrada led with 3 hits and knocked in 1 of 4 RBIs. Sarah Pearson got the win on the mound in 5.1 innings with 2 strikeouts. And Nadia Boyan recorded a save in 1.2 innings with a strikeout. There were 3 Mighty Max runs in the second inning. They never looked back. Against Thiel, Natalia D'Onofrio led with 3 runs and 3 hits. Jamie Green, who will be our guest in just a little bit, had 4 RBIs. Aubrey Sider earned the pitching win in 3 innings, while Jessica Vito went 2, and each of them had 2 strikeouts. 7 runs in the second inning was the difference to pull away from Thiel. Up next, and this is like we said with baseball, with rain, they are scheduled to play tomorrow, Tuesday, March 17th at 2:30 at Stockton for a doubleheader. If that is rained out, their next one would be at Wilkes for a doubleheader on Thursday, the 19th at 4 o'clock. So we will keep you guys updated on GoMightyMax.com to get all those updates. But guys, softball under new head coach Alexa Peterson, she's really earning some wins early on. Tough stretch. Like baseball, these opponents we don't see very often, and now they get to come home and try and stack some wins against more common opponents, I guess, as they eventually prepare for conference play.
Yeah, it was a good start for softball. I was watching some of the games on the live stream as we were working to get the stats entered for those games that are not played here. They're, played in South Carolina, and there's no always an SID on site for those. I got to follow some of them and saw some of the big hits. We put a few clips up from some of those big hits of, like Jamie Green and Alexis Andrada, Riley Martin, and those hitters. They got some big hits for them in those games. So it was a solid start for them, a solid week. Looking forward to seeing them hopefully soon back out here on the IU softball field for home games and doubleheaders, and as they get conference play started this week down at Newman, should be a good start of the season for the team.
Jamie Green also won weekly honor roll, just saying.
We'll be speaking with her pretty soon in the show.
Some good wins for softball, and you saw a lot of team efforts around. I mean, those two triples by Martin and Green were fun to see. They're up on the Money Max page, and you saw a lot of good spirits, a good team efforts all around.
Moving along into tennis, men's and women's tennis were played in Hilton Head, South Carolina this week. Men's played St. Vincent on Saturday. After they returned home as well, they played them in a doubleheader actually here since St. Vincent had come so far. They decided to play two matches. It was just a men's match. Men played Brevard College, Franciscan, and Penn State Behrend. The women played Ohio Wesleyan, Franciscan, and Penn State Behrend as well. The men fell 5-0 to Behrend. DiMattei and Easton Ragno, fell 6-3 in doubles. Muckle fell 6-3, 6-2 in number four singles against Franciscan. They did lose 6-1. DiMattei and Ragno played a tough doubles match, losing 6-4. Ragno picked up a win for Immaculata in singles, 7-6, 7-5 in the tiebreak, 0-6, then 10-8 in the 10-point tiebreaker to win the match for Immaculata for that particular their one win in that match. And then they fell to Behrend in their last match down in Hilton Head. Ryan Muckle and Easton Ragno fell in doubles. Ragno put up straight set win 6-4, 6-2 in number one singles. And they fell 6-1 also in the first match to St. Vincent and 4-3 in the second match. So it was a real tight second match. Nicholas Brown earned a singles win, 6-7, 10-12 in the tiebreak, then won the second set 6-4, then won the third set tiebreak 10-3. 10-point tiebreaker instead of playing a full set. Easton Ragno and Muckle won 6-4 in doubles. And then in the second match, and then Ragno and DiMattei and Brown all got singles wins in that second match. They ended up only by a point, but it was a good effort. The Immaculata women played a tough Ohio Wesleyan team in their first match in Hilton Head, lost 7-0. Haley Elwell and Delaney Brown fell 6-2 in doubles. Sophia Carey played a tight match in singles, losing 4-6, 1-6 in number three singles. They lost 6-1 to Franciscan in their second match. Athena Criticson and Laura Farrow grabbed a doubles win, and I believe Laura Farrow grabbed their one win in singles as well for their 1 point in that match. So Delaney Brown fell up, 3-6, 4-6. Against Behrend, Farrow and Abigail Kulo earned a doubles win, 7-5. And then, Athena Criticson played a three-set match in her singles, winning 7-5, losing 5-7 and 8-10. Both teams will be back up on Saturday when they travel to Marymount for their Atlantic East Conference openers at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, some great results for tennis, despite, again, playing some tough teams. So 3 of our teams were down in South Carolina this week. Well, 4 if you count tennis as a men and a women's team, but 3 as in sports.
They were in Hilton Head, close, same area.
Close
same
enough,
region.
about 4-hour difference. But yeah, so some good results, and they're putting up fights against some of these tougher schools. That's why, we highlighted some of these. Despite some of these defeats, it's good to highlight them, that they got some games against their opponents in these sets. Like Athena Criticson against Behrend really went the distance, 7-5, 5-7, 8-10. Really just shows the hard work they're putting in, and now they're coming home to get some conference action. So we'll see how they do at Marymount, and we're past the spring break point in our schedule, so everybody's back on home turf now, so it's good to see.
We are going to talk about flag football now. Flag football actually played a game this week at St. Joe's on Thursday and earned a 18-7 win. They used a strong defensive effort to overcome a slim 7-6 halftime deficit. Eliana Satowski had an interception, and Jacqueline Molinini scored twice. Tiara Lauer scored a 25-yard pick six to seal the win. They will have a try match on St. Patrick's Day at Centenary with Penn State Schuylkill. They'll play Penn State Schuylkill, I think, at 3:45, and then Centenary at 5:15. So hopefully they can get some luck of the Irish on St. Patrick's Day. You're having a lot of good things happen for the flag football team here early on. A lot of good things to go off of. You got strong players like Natalie Dodd, Taylor Egan, Satowski, Malinini. Cosgrove at quarterback's been working good.
Just so everyone's aware, The tri match coming up this weekend was moved from Saturday to Friday evening.
Good
So
point.
Immaculata will be up at 5 and 8 o'clock in that tri match playing Chestnut Hill and Newman. And then Chestnut Hill and Newman will play in the middle match at 6:30. Just so everybody knows there was a change in the schedule. Originally scheduled for Saturday is now on Friday at Draper Wall Stadium, and it will be senior day for flag football as well on Friday evening, as Sam Rivera will be honored. And a good result in their game at St. Joe's. We didn't get a whole lot of information on that one. There wasn't like a stat file or anything sent for that one, but it was a good solid win for them. And looking forward to see how they do this weekend when they get Chestnut Hill and Newman here.
One other sport we are going to talk about, outdoor track and field starts their 2026 season this week with a 2-day meet. It will be Friday and Saturday at the Westchester Purple and Gold Open. On Friday, they'll have the 5K and the 10K, along with the steeplechase, and then all the other events will happen on Saturday. The Mighty Master are going to look for great performances from Aubrey Donahue, Jackie Leone, Aubrey Bickford, all on the women's sides. On the men's side, you got Jimmy Lauer, Jaden Barksdown, Dylan Cruz, who will be joining us now from basketball for the outdoor season, Aaron Cuthbert, all people the team's going to look to rely on as they head into the outdoor season. And you'll pretty much will be on track back into the weekly roundup after starting this next week when we get results from the Westchester race.
It should be interesting. I guess we're having for the first time in a few years, we'll have pole vaulters competing in addition to some of the other events that we usually have. Anybody on your team do the steeplechase?
Jason Cantorino did it last year. I don't know if he plans on doing it this year, but we'll find out.
I know that's something we'll have to get set up here when we host the Atlantic East Conference Championships. We have to get all that stuff set up out there. It's in the near future, I should say, coming up in the beginning of May there. The Atlantic East Conference Championships will be here this year.
Before we know it, though. But it'll be fun to have the championships here this year.
Yeah, mark your calendars now, folks, for that outdoor championships hosted by yours truly. Yeah, so hopefully we get some good results in outdoor track and field. The indoor squad, which is basically the same as the outdoor squad, but you get what I mean. The indoor squad did a great job this season. Hopefully we get some new results in the outdoor season and getting some reinforcements. You said like Dylan Cruz, Abby Grillo for the women's team, I believe, and some other athletes too. So excited to see how that goes leading up until outdoor championships in early May.
I guess now would be a good time to bring in our guest for this week. When we come back after this quick break on the Tuesday Talk IU Athletics podcast, we'll be joined by Jamie Green from the Immaculata softball team. So we'll be back after this break on the Tuesday Talk IU Athletic podcast. Welcome back to the Tuesday Talk IU Athletics podcast. We are joined by our guest, softball freshman Jamie Green. Welcome to the show, Jamie.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You guys had a solid start to your season last week in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina at the Fast Pitch Dreams Classic. Could you tell us how you started playing softball and how you decided to continue your career at Immaculata?
I started playing softball because my stepmom influenced me when I was younger to start a sport, and I just kind of stuck with it, and she was there for me since the start of when I started playing at 9. And I chose Immaculata because I was looking at the school for my career and my major of criminology, and I really liked the field and the coach and the team aspect and environment of it all.
You had a strong start to your freshman season so far here. What has the transition from high school to college softball been like so far, and how have your teammates helped you in that adjustment?
I'd say that the biggest adjustment between high school and college softball is the different amount of practice time. There's a lot more practice time in college than high school, and that was a big change for me in having to manage my school and practice and working out and waking up early, going to class. And my team helped me by giving me ideas on how to manage my time better and how to stop procrastinating with all my work.
You guys opened your season at the Fast Pitch Dreams Spring Classic down in Myrtle Beach. What was that experience like for you and the team? Obviously, it being spring break, you got to get your games in, but also I guess there's time for fun and some rest as well. So what was that experience like?
For me, it was a new experience since my old teams that I played for, we never traveled, so it was really fun to live with a set of girls in the rooms and have free time on the beach and in the pool, and it was really cool playing down in South with the different heat and weather and experiencing the rain and thunderstorms and everything, and just bonding with the team and making new memories is really what we did the whole time. That was the best part about it, honestly.
You had some big moments this week. You delivered a walk-off double against Bridgewater State. What was going through your mind in a moment like that?
Honestly, what was going through my mind was that I had to score since I was on second and I needed to get that run so that we could win that game. And my coach was sitting there telling me to be smart, and my teammate Lex popped off a ball on a drop third, ran in and slid it home, and everyone was screaming. It was a great experience.
You capped off the week with a big performance against Thiel College, including a bases clearing triple. What were some of your favorite moments of this week in Myrtle Beach? Was that one of them?
That was definitely a highlight of my week, but I'd say some of my favorite moments would be like my first collegiate hit and my first stolen base, and basically experiencing all my firsts and having my team, like hearing my team from the dugout. But the triple is definitely one of my biggest highlights from this week.
When you step into the batter's box, what's your mindset or approach at the plate?
Stepping into the box, one of my biggest approaches is seeing the ball clearly because that's like an important part of hitting the ball, seeing it clearly all the way, hitting the barrel of your bat. So keeping my eyes down, keeping my eyes at the pitcher's hip, sitting in my back leg, and just really trying to see the ball hit come off my bat.
And what goals do you have for yourself and the team for the rest of the season? Obviously, a great start at Myrtle Beach, but what do you aim to do as we go through the season, even with some tough opponents coming up?
My biggest goal is to just basically win games and get better and stronger as a team throughout the entire season. But overall, I think our main goal is to just win as many games as we can.
Finally, for young softball players who want to play at the college level one day in their careers, what advice would you give to them?
I would say to try and get better every day. And at times it's going to be hard, but the struggles are what make you better. Starting since I started at the age of 9, when most people started at T-ball, I was behind. So seeing everyone else start out better than me really hurt my confidence. But working every day and going to extra camps and putting in extra practice really benefited me. And it showed the results that I have today. So I would say get better every day as much as you can would be my biggest advice.
We thank you for coming in and talking with us today, Jamie, and we wish you and the team success. Hopefully, you're able to, definitely get your games in this week. And with opening conference play on Saturday down at Newman, we're looking forward to seeing you guys play, and hopefully in about a week get you on the field here for a home game this season here in Immaculata. We're looking forward to that. Thanks.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for your support, and we'll see what happens this Saturday.
And we'll be back after this quick break on the Tuesday Talk IU Athletics podcast. And welcome back to the Tuesday Talk IU Athletics podcast. It was a good interview with Jamie Green. Glad she was able to come in and talk to us a little bit about the experience in starting out her college career here at Immaculata and the trip to Myrtle Beach and how things are going with the team. And looking forward to continuing to watch her and seeing how the team does this year. And guys, 25 shows now. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a great milestone, quarter century. As Connor said off air, I don't think we're getting to 50 this go around. I think we're looking at low 30s, like 32, 33 for the final episode of the season, but 25 definitely a big accomplishment. And, this started out as just a small idea from Andy, and, it's become this big thing every week. So it's good to see.
Yeah, huge milestone. It's been fun to do this with you guys. And like I said, I started seeing Tuesday Talk spawn in on the Instagram page over the summer with all these highlights from the past year, and now it's an actual real thing. So it's good, and it's a good milestone for us.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and we look forward to continue it, bringing more athletes and teams in, and looking forward to kind of expanding on any new ideas anybody wants to suggest to us for either the rest of this year or for next year when we do come back. But it's been a good run so far. I'm looking forward to continuing. We hope you'll join us next week. We're back for episode 26 of the Tuesday Talk IU Athletics podcast. Roll Max.